If you've got an S-Corp, you're paying yourself $20,000 a year. So you're only paying Medicare, Social Security, and all that other, on the $20,000, not the full 50,000.
Yeah.
So when they go to Wyoming and try to find your information by law, Wyoming is going to protect your information. So they're not going to say Jonathan owns the father company.
See, I still might pay him something, but I'm not going to pay him that 50%. The only time I'm paying 50% or something around that is if that eBay is 100% in their name and their social security, and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go to Josh next. What's up?
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, how are you doing today anyway, bro? It's been a while since I've spoke to you.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Just continuing to move. How about you, man?
Ah, nice one, bro. I'm all good, mate. I'm chilling at the moment. I was wanting to ask I was just want to ask like a quick question just out of curiosity. Obviously, if Dan is still in the Zoom call, it's just to make sure I've not misinterpreted anything that was said earlier. Just to clarify, so see if I were to make another eBay account, right?
Yeah.
Would essentially the best way to go about it is approach a family member with an aged eBay account and come to some consignment agreement, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, it's an interesting word to use there. Yeah, I mean, that would probably be a great way to get some more accounts, just leveraging your family members' accounts, because they're probably going to be very aged as well. And again, it just depends on how safe you want to be, but I would agree that for the first few accounts, just reaching out using your assets, is a great way to start.
They're in a different address, putting a mini computer that you're any desking into at their location is gold. Absolute complete gold.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I could probably do that.
It's basically a agency model, but without a lot of and it's a bit of a pain maybe to set up, but once, it's family. So once you set it up, you maybe don't even need to, like if they're like your mom or dad, they maybe don't even care about a profit split. You can just, like my friend just put one up in his grandma's house and it's like his grandma doesn't care. So like he can just, have that. Of course, like you got to worry about the taxes, all that, but like I think it's a great way to kind of get to more.
How would you approach that anyway? Like that's what I was kind of thinking there, with like taxation and all that, because it's under
Yeah,
your.
it varies from place to place. I mean, typically, for the most part, I've done agency. So, like, I put a computer in my friend's house, I manage their account for them, and they're paying me 50%. All right. So I haven't actually gone through the tax cycle yet. So I'm sure Dan can talk a bit more about it, but I would assume, right, that because you're basically like a service that is, taking 50% of the profits. So they'll pay tax on the remaining 50% that stays in their bank, right? On top of their income. So it's just treated like more income. So yeah.
So on a high level, if you want to know what I would suggest, I'm not a tax accountant, don't take this, yada, 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 all the disclosures, but with everything I've done, if I was advising somebody new to set it up, I would literally create an S-Corp, okay? And then your S-Corp owns a bunch of LLCs. So even though somebody else, owns the account, the eBay account, and again, I would just keep that normal personal, have them do a few sales for a few months. Again, I do not recommend anybody try to force this that they're making big money in 2 or 3 months. If you're really doing this for the long haul, I'm going to warm up an account for months before I start really building that account. But what you really want to do is they would be the account owner, and then you set up an LLC in your name. And then that eBay account gets turned into a business account with the LLC and that EIN. And that EIN is attached to your S Corp. Again, I know this is high level stuff, but and then it's all a pass through to the S Corp, and the S Corp does its taxes every year, and then that gets passed through to your personal taxes.
But then
All
here a
right,
quick question,
okay.
like for instance, when you have those let's say you have five LLC, right? And, one S corp owns five LLC. Those five LLC you have on your own name, or you open it for like your different family members. I refer to LLC, not S corp. Just five different.
And I'm not perfect on that. I did mine. I'm in New York State. I just did them under my personal name. Probably the ideal situation is a hidden LLC, which I think you can do through Wyoming Corp, or there's ways to do it.
Yeah.
so that ultimately eBay can't see the owner of the LLC. I can't really advise you because I haven't gone down that road. But if you wanted to set up a perfect situation, you would have owned the S-Corp, and then you would have the S-Corp own basically blind LLCs, meaning the LLCs are set up in a way that it's in certain states and that they don't have to show the owner of the LLC. That way, it's separated. So when you're using somebody else that owns the eBay account, even though it's set to the LLC EIN, eBay will never see the true owner of that LLC. But again, I can't advise you because I know that's possible. I just haven't done it that way.
The
That's how I did mine. So my first 4 accounts I did with one LLC, my name, all linked to me. Then the second one I did, with the second set I'm doing with well, I own the second LLC still, but my mom is now the account owner. So like she doesn't own the LLC, but she's just a representative for the LLC on that account. And I believe that's how Reforge was doing it. Was he was doing sets of 5 like that, and every time he'd have a different LLC, but a different primary account holder, and then he would have a master S Corp, which is what I'm in the process of doing.
So, so Jonathan,
Yeah.
with one LLC, just like Dan was saying, you set it up as an S Corp just because Dan had already figured out once you start passing 50K in revenue, S Corp is how you want to be taxed. That's why he's specifically mentioning the S Corp. The idea of having an LLC owning other LLCs is simply because that LLC under your agreement, right? You're going to create a proper agreement for that holding LLC. And then now that holding LLC can own a million other LLC.
Without actually touching the eBay account.
Without touching them.
It's like a pyramid scheme. It's at the top. Yeah. And it doesn't actually touch eBay's algorithm.
When you file taxes, the holding LLC is known as a father LLC. That means you tell the government that the job of that LLC is to manage the money of all incomes that comes through. That means if you have 100 eBay accounts and 100 LLC, the holding company is responsible to manage the money for all of those, which mean under whether you are Delaware or Wyoming, you will file you will file one taxes because they only have one. You don't have state tax. You don't have federal. You see, you only have federal.
That is why you need that S Corp, right? Otherwise at scale you need to do multiple filings for every
exactly. Other than that, and then without that, you will be also like if you're paying yourself, you will also be taxed on a personal level. So you got the business, you got all these different filings, and then you would have yourself for whatever you pay yourself. That's a lot of tax. That's a lot of your money going out. However, as an S Corp, with the Wyoming LLC as the father company, you file only once as the father company for every dollar, every other LLC that he owns, make. On top of that, Wyoming allow you to have privacy, which means when you say this LLC that's in Florida, they search that LLC. It's going to say who owns it, and it's going to show a company owns it. That's not you. You're not a company. You control a company, but you're not the company. Yeah. So when they go to Wyoming and try to find your information, by law, Wyoming is going to protect your information. So they're not going to say Jonathan owns the father company due to the law.
So you would just do your father company in your own state, and then you would do all the other LLCs. Let's see, no, you would do the father company in Wyoming.
Right.
And then all the other LLCs, it doesn't matter what state you do them in. Yeah, great idea.
Yeah, I mean,
and for those with the S Corp, the reason you're doing the S Corp is, if you're making $50,000 as a business owner, you're paying Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all that other stuff on $50,000. If you've got an S Corp, you basically, give yourself a W-2, or as an employee, you're paying yourself $20,000 a year, and then you're taking the rest as a distribution. So you're only paying Medicare, Social Security, and all that other stuff on the $20,000, not the full $50,000.
Oh, that is so saucy, man.
And with the
Yeah.
big beautiful bill, you now at only 25. You're now at only 15%.
Yeah.
Of your
Can I ask
distribution.
one thing?
Wow. So I actually have a quick question. And now it's no, the question was, how would you manage, right, an agency account in like a friend's house? Like, what are they gonna do then? Like, tell me about that.
So
Because
then
yeah.
let me quickly make a comment
Yeah,
about
that
that.
is true.
If you put no business into an eBay account, they will send your 1099 to your social security number. The moment you put an EIN number, they send the 1099 to your business social security number, which is considered as an EIN number. So it doesn't matter who controls the eBay account when it comes to taxes. It's where they send that 1099. And if it's attached to a business, that's what's gonna get
Gotcha.
the tax information. So when you're running an agency, you don't have to worry about that person getting taxed. That person is going to need to pay tax based on what they paid.
So to answer your question, for an agency account, if they're paying the taxes and it's in their social security number, I'm giving them more money than if it's getting switched to my EIN. Then I'm not paying them that much for that, that eBay account is the answer.
Yeah, because again, like they own the account, you can't attach, your stuff to it necessarily. So like it's a sole prop, whatever, in their house, right? So that is
No,
why.
I mean, no, if I have an agency, but we're doing it pretty deep where I'm literally putting my EIN and my LLC information in, right? That agency, I still might pay him something, but I'm not going to pay him that 50%. The only time I'm paying 50% or something around that is if that eBay is 100% in their name and their social security, and everything.
Yeah, because they're gonna have to worry about that. Yeah, okay.
And I'm having them pay their taxes out of their 50%. I'm not paying, I haven't done agency as far as that goes, but I'm just telling you, if I were to do it,
I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I guess in that case, maybe an even better setup would be kind of what Reforge did. Like you go to your friends or no, to your family's house and you just set up a whole business system there and you set up 5 accounts in their house.
I'm telling you, I would set up a mini computer. You can set it all up at home. Just don't log into it until you are on their Wi-Fi. You set it up. You've already set up your AnyDesk and everything on it. And literally you stick it at their house and connect to their Wi-Fi one time. And then you from any location in the world, you just AnyDesk into it and run the rest.
100%. Yeah, and again, like I already have 2 sets at my house, and I'm worried if I add a 3rd, 4th, 5th set, like it's all gonna get linked eventually.
Well, you can do it at your house as long as you have static IPs, right? So I have 29 business static IPs. So
static IPs, and I actually have 2 separate modems as well for like complete blocks. But like I'm worried about linkage despite that. That might be a bit.
What about dynamic?
Yeah.
As separated as possible, that is better. No question.
Yeah,
Even across
so like
town, across the state, all that is way better.
Put the next set of 5 in a family member's house, right? Put it somewhere else just to make it even more separate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think but yeah, sorry. Someone was saying
no, sorry, my bad to interrupt. Can I ask, by the way, what about if this mini PC on this eBay account was connected to a dynamic IP address? Would that affect anything?
I think just the wisdom has always been to do static IPs. I forget why we don't do dynamic IPs, honestly. Yeah. I'd have to look at from 2023, but static IPs are kind of the way, I believe.
I mean, if you have a home service with one account, that's technically a dynamic IP. Every time if that router is unplugged for 3 or 4 hours and you replug that router in, it's going to create a new IP address. Okay, so that's still kind of a dynamic IP. Obviously, a cell phone is dynamic IP, right? Every time you log into it, that cell phone has a different IP address. But a static IP is exactly that. It stays as the exact same IP forever.
That's right. Yeah, dynamic means like it's changing then, right? Based on the name.
Yeah.
You want static because it's a consistent separated IP, whereas dynamic,
well, here's the reason. If you're a scammer, you're not going to use an old static IP. It's too easy to find you. So you're going to use a cell phone or a dynamic, right? So eBay, obviously, they're going to trust a static IP way more than a dynamic one, just for logical sense that, hey, a scammer is way less apt to use a static IP from their home address.
Hence a
Stable.
burner, right?
Yeah, that
Hence a
involves.
burner then.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question, Josh. Josh, did you have any other questions, or we can go to Mike's question because he has his hand up. But
No, that was really all I wanted to ask. Really, see the INR or whatever, the IT or what number was it you would mention? Like it was employer number. I would
It's
honestly need to ask Rip about like stuff like taxation because we don't really have anything like IRS or that over here. It's like HMRC, so it's completely different over here to
talk to
America.
Roop is like a crazy asset. Like you got to talk to him about that. Because I think he's actually been through the cycle. I wouldn't know. I know you have LTDs, and then you have something else instead of an EIN. So I'm sure you have your own process to go through though.
Yeah, we have like UTRs and like national insurance, etc., which is the UK equivalent to social security numbers and
Yeah,
etc. It's completely different over here. So I
yeah.
mean, it probably wouldn't apply to me.
ChatGPT will be your friend. Like you can kind of explain what we talked about here, and then just say like I'm in the UK or in your
Real
Explain like
zesty.
explain it in UK terms.
explain it in UK terms. Make it work for me because there's some way to make it work, right?